Good morning. Welcome to the Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu podcast, episode 134. My name is Isaac Tauaefa. I'm here with
Lucas Pinckard.
Cramer.
And we have the honor of having a brother, PJ Kratohvil, on the podcast this morning. What's up, PJ?
What's up?
You doing all right this morning?
Outstanding. It's Monday.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Hit it hard. It's great to be with you, man. We're excited to tell our listeners more about you and about your nonprofit therapeutic recreation group and the awesome work that you're doing, and also an exciting kind of partnership between the ministry and TRG. And we'll get into that. We're going to give a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Cool. Yeah. Our first sponsor for today is Jocko Fuel. Dominate your day with Jocko Fuel. Premium supplements forged for performance and built on discipline. Power up with Jocko Go for clean energy, mental focus, and recover strong with Jocko Mulk and Jocko Creatine. And stay in the fight with Jocko Warfare. No artificial sweeteners, no shortcuts, just clean fuel for the mission. Use promo code JJJ20 to save 20% at checkout. Get after it.
Sweet. I'm going to be drinking my Go for a second. I need some caffeine.
I need it bad.
Jocko Hydrate.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, you said you were kind of caffeined out, so I thought we'd help you out there with some hydrate.
I don't understand that sentence.
Caffeined out.
Caffeined out. Yeah.
Too much caffeine.
Yeah.
I don't.
Like,
What?
I mean, at this time of the day, it's kind of hard to do.
Based for you, you're like, is there
what
such a
language
thing?
are you speaking?
Is
Yeah.
there such a
What?
thing as too much caffeine?
I feel you, Lucas, but like right now at this time of the day, that'd be kind of crazy to have gotten to your limit.
I was. I don't know why. I do know why. I saw it on Instagram. I've been getting into the diets of presidents. There's this guy on Instagram, I forget what his name is, and he eats what like the presidents would eat every day, and he's going through them. Teddy Roosevelt drank a gallon of coffee every day. Jeez. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, that seems like the best way to do 75 hard.
Getting your water.
Yeah, like
But
that's it.
happens to have
just
some
it's just
coffee
brown
in it.
water. Yep.
I love it. That's great.
I think that's
Teddy Roosevelt's awesome, dude.
he ate 8 hard-boiled eggs for breakfast every morning
Yeah.
with like
a gallon of
nothing on
coffee.
them, and a gallon of coffee. He had 4 cups of coffee.
That's a man's man
4
right
cups
there.
of coffee,
Yeah.
8 eggs,
Yep.
some bread, and a bowl of milk.
Only
was his
U.S.
breakfast.
president to train jiu-jitsu.
Was he?
Yep.
Wow.
He was a jiu-jitero.
You trying to tell me Jimmy Carter didn't train jiu-jitsu?
No.
Wow. I don't know if I
didn't.
believe that.
Yeah.
I don't know
No.
anything about his diet either, so
Well,
maybe one day.
I don't know if he was but definitely the most prominent one that trained jiu-jitsu. But I think he was the only one.
Brian save
Total
us.
stud.
I'm
Anyway,
just gonna let it go.
well, yeah. Thank you to Jocko Fuel for your continued support of the ministry, and also I want to thank you, the other sponsor of today's episode, our brother Kirk Weatherby. So Kirk sponsored this episode of the podcast. Kirk is a brother through the ministry, been a big supporter from the beginning, just always engaged with our content, incredibly encouraging to the ministry, like always taking the time to thoughtfully write out something that's going to encourage each of us as we continue to do ministry, and just sharing his appreciation for our efforts here, and then also what God is doing through the ministry. And it's been awesome to have a brother like that that's constantly encouraging. And then he came to Pursuit. I got to be with him at his Pursuit, and so I got to know him better then. And we've just stayed in touch, and we talk in every other week, I think. Amazing dude. And he started, it was funny at the time when he first started engaging with the ministry, he wasn't even training jiu-jitsu. He was just, hey, this is a great thing. I see the fellowship. I want to plug into that. And then through the podcast and just being involved with the ministry, he was like, I got to train. So started training, and I see him post every other day, just his consistency in training. He's got his kids training. He sends videos. He trains with his daughter all the time. And it's just been awesome to watch him. He's up there at Clark's University of Martial Arts in Bend, Oregon, and just killing it. So
Yeah. He's a fitness enthusiast too, always working out. He's huge.
Yeah.
He's so tall.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how tall he was until I saw him doing deadlifts once. He posted a video of him doing deadlifts. I'm like, man, that bar has to travel a long way. How tall are you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he's a stud, man. And so I think he works all night. Like he works overnight in what he does, and so he just listens to the pod. He got caught up like pretty quick because he was doing that, like listening all the way through the night. But Kirk, thank you, man. Thanks for making this possible. We appreciate you. And I always love when an individual sponsors the podcast. Like, it's so great when we have organizations, businesses that sponsor, but when someone's just like, hey man, I love what you guys are doing, I want to help. And he didn't ask for any credit. I just saw his name pop up on the donation. So thanks, Kirk. We appreciate you, man. Well, I want to get into let's talk about PJ a little bit. Cramer, you got his bio here.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So PJ Kratohvil, I said that correctly, yes?
Yeah, close enough.
Oh,
man.
okay. Nailed it.
It's tough.
First try.
PJ is a Marine Corps veteran, entrepreneur, and a man of deep purpose. After serving as a military police, combat motorcycle operator, and member of the General's Jump Team, he completed multiple tours in Iraq and returned home to build complete exterior solutions with his wife of 23 years.
23, 24.
Yeah, it's right in there.
Minute. Yeah.
So as
Tuck it in.
today, he has sold that business to pour into his next mission, which is serving veterans and first responders through Therapeutic Recreation Group, or TRG for short, along with his brother-in-arms, Robbie. PJ brings grit, leadership, and a heart for restoration, and we're fired up to have him here. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate the opportunity, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we got to know each other through, actually, I met you at Matt Chandler's house when we started to do our Thursday night, like warrior group, fire pit talks. And I think I'd maybe met you once before, maybe through Will, or saw you at church, but I really got to know you well while we were doing that. I mean, what a blessing we both had to get poured into for all that time, every single week. Just being steeped in like learning the word of God better and deeper, but getting to do it together and like walking through a ton of tough stuff like through that season. And so it was really awesome. I think that's where we, really obviously built our friendship. But then as we got to spend more time together, and we're going to the same church, you've been there for years. How long have you been going to the village?
Man, I think like 4 years.
Yeah.
Like my recall is horrible.
Yeah.
I could tell you like 4 years, and my wife's like, dude, it's been 12. So I'm going to go with 4.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah.
And you serve on the security team there,
Yep.
as you should. I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, I was happy to find a place to plug in there. You know?
Yeah, it's great. There's some good dudes that serve on that team. We got to meet a couple other guys there as well. But but through our time together at church, getting to learn more about you, and then I think more toward the tail end of us during our time meeting there, getting to learn more about what TRG actually does.
Sure.
And so I'd love for you to just kind of share with our audience like what you guys do, what the heart of what you do is.
Yeah, so our main mission is really to go after our warfighter, first responders community, and we want to do it right here, local, kind of north DFW area. We actually are split. My partner Robbie, we deployed together. We're in the Marine Corps together. A lot of good times, a lot of bad times. He's down in Leander, just north of Austin, so we kind of have a two platform. We serve that immediate area, and we serve our immediate area, and we do so through a series of kind of outdoor adventure trips. We facilitate this community just getting up, active, outdoors, plugging them in, creating a network. We saw a lot of people doing it. It's kind of a flooded market, just super saturated, which is great, the taking care of our vets. But we wanted to be more than just kind of a one and done type experience. So we get these guys, we'll take them out, we'll hunt, hike, fish, exploration trips, whatever it is, and we come back. We give them the tools necessary to come home and recreate that experience. So like, for example, say our duck hunt every year, we go up to Arkansas. These guys, gals, they are outfitted with everything they need. They get the shotguns, the waders, the gear, the hunting licenses, everything they need, and then 6 to 7 cell phone numbers of people that they did it with that are within a 30-mile bubble, so they can come home and recreate it and go to the firehouse or go back to, wherever they are and do it again.
Man,
so
that's so awesome. I think that's we know because of our just exposure with Men's Freedom Ministry we serve in with Pursuit. Some of us have been and then go back and serve, but that is one of the elements of that I think is super impactful is just the time that they go spend in the wilderness.
Yeah, something about it.
Yeah.
Like I tell them, there's no like secret sauce to this weekend or series of days, but there's something about getting outdoors, whether it's summiting a mountain or dropping like anything, you know, out in the woods, or something about that's healing. And then, you know, as our personalities are, a lot of times we're really good at staying back in those shadows and just being good, and not really reaching out or trying to plug in or find community, when that's really the one thing that we need.
Yeah,
you know, that'll do it for you.
Yeah, so that's there's a piece of it that's restorative, that being in the wilderness, but that's the setting, and then what actually brings it home is the community, the fellowship that they find with each other. Like, man, I'm not alone in this. I'm not alone in anything. And you really are taking dudes out that have had a lot of, who are carrying a lot of trauma. They have a lot of experience, and they've seen a lot of stuff. They've had to deal with a lot of stuff. And so I think it's really awesome what you do. And it's cool because you're not like, hey, we're going to go out and sit by a campfire and I'm going to counsel you. It's let's go do something super fun, and you're doing it with each other. And then you do have times. I know that but that leads to times where you have the opportunity to pour into their life, right?
Yeah, we wanted to create something where we're not going out and there's no structure. We're not holding hands, you know, we're singing songs. We're going to go out and do stuff that we would normally do. You know, we're going to shoot guns. We're going to get crazy. And then, you know, if we're up at 3 a.m. sitting around that campfire, you know, that's when that magic happens. You know, that's when that unload, you know, kind of happens. When I got out, I was pretty quiet for, 10 to 12 years. I didn't really want anything to do with the service, with the guys, with the community. You know, I went to work. That was kind of my drug for a long time. And then one trip, I was like, wow. You know, my partner Robbie, we kind of reconnected and went on a trip. And then, you know, from there we're like, dude, I don't know what that was, but we feel better. We feel lighter. Yeah. And we need to recreate that for, you know, just for the other guys in our community. Mm-hmm.
So awesome. So, like, tell us about your most recent trip. Like, what did you guys do?
Yeah, so a really good one we do. It's out at the M5 Ranch. It's just about an hour and 45 minutes west of here. Mr. Andy Mack has a ranch out there, and we've really created outstanding partnerships. Like, God has really allowed us to align with these people. You know, I'll call them out. They're pretty quiet guys, but Jonathan and Thomas Ivy out in East Texas, they have come alongside of us and really helped facilitate connections that we need to pull these trips off, connections and funding. In that trip specifically, we usually take between 6 and 8 local, you know, PD fire or veterans out there, and just afford them the opportunity to really get out, unhook, you know, from the daily grind, meet some new people, and just be kind of be celebrated, you know, a physical thank you for who they are, you know, first and foremost, and what they've done. But we load up in these side-by-sides and got a bunch of guns, and we'll go out, and one night I think we had like 97 pigs that we smoked the first night, and then we'll go get in some blinds, and we shot everything from axis to whitetail to aoudad, I think some Gimsbach. I don't even know the names of some of this stuff, but man, it's just this life-changing experience, and it's really cool. We've been doing that trip I think 3 years in a row now, and we've got like our 8 or 9 trips that we do, and we don't really try to reinvent the wheel. We just try to make every year better, and bring more partnerships in on it to just facilitate a better experience. But we go out and we hunt, and Miss Lisa's in the kitchen and cooks really good. And, you know, these guys, a lot of times we're the ones that are doing everything. You know, our personalities, when we go out, you know, we're cooking and we're cleaning and taking out the trash, you know, and cleaning out the trucks. But for these guys just to sit tight, it's kind of awkward at first. Yeah. But man, it's an experience that I think everybody needs to feel. And then just building those bridges of community here locally.
Yeah, I definitely see. So another parallel just with Pursuit is like I recognize that happens a lot when guys show up. They're like, they want to move chairs. They want to help clean stuff. They want to help, you know, hey, I can help clean. I'll take out the trash, you know. Yep. but that's way more common. What's less common is people allowing you to serve them, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of funny, but once you set the tone, like, hey, look, I know we appreciate you wanting to help, but let us take care of you. There's something restorative that happens there when they just get to relax. They get to, because that's very rare. I mean, they're not, even when they go home, they're not in that mode.
It's
when
not,
they're in any
not
other
our natural
environment.
personality,
Yeah.
you know,
No.
to do that.
No. Well, and actually it's kind of funny because I think a lot of it stems from like, well, I don't want anyone to, worst thing ever would be for someone to think that I'm lazy or not capable, right?
Yeah.
But if you get permission to be like, look, I'm telling you, it's your job right now to
Yeah.
focus on just hanging out. We're going to take care of you. Man, to be released to that responsibility is great. And it does something, it kind of lowers the walls. The whole environment, though, is to help get them to a place where they're like, this is cool. I'm getting a lot of value out of this. And just have a deep appreciation for the people that are serving them, but also the opportunity they have right in front of them to just let go, relax.
We had a really good opportunity a couple of years ago. I think it was the year before last. My buddy Ryan Stevens up in Conway, Coach Thanos. He's a big jiu-jitsu guy. We reached out to our unit and did kind of an open invite, really to bring all of our unit guys up. He has a range and kind of tactical training place up in Conway. And we brought our unit guys up there, and we hadn't seen them in probably 15 years or so. And that was a really good experience to be able to directly pour back into those guys that we went to war with and, you know, had those experiences with. And, that was life-changing, I know, for many of them.
Yeah. So before your time in the military, which I know we'll probably get more into, you know, your time in the Marines and your deployments and stuff. I've heard a bit of your testimony at a men's night that you did several months ago now on the top of the parking garage over at the Village. But
So hot.
God, it was
so hot.
It was,
that day.
but still, it was a wonderful, wonderful night. It was awesome. I brought some young guys out to that. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah.
And they'd never really been around like a group of us.
Yeah.
I guess, you know, and I don't know what that means necessarily, but I guess a group of Christian men that don't look like the Christian man to them, and then to see all of us like up raising hands, praising the Lord together, which was so profound. But before we get into your military service, tell us a little bit about your background, kind of where you grew up, like what led you to be a Marine in the first place, and then we'll kind of structure it from there.
Sure. Yeah, nothing super crazy. I was the kid that grew up in church. You know, I was there every time the door was open and, you know, unlocked it a lot of times with my parents were just super plugged in and involved. You know, I went to Christian. I graduated from Christian high school here in town. I grew up in Flower Mound. So, yeah, was around all the things. Nothing, got saved at a really young age. You know, I think when I got out of high school, my parents wanted me to go to college. That really wasn't what I wanted to do. I had started to work really young, and I feel like that's kind of what I was built for. So I think I lasted a semester maybe. I went to a Nazarene college up in Bethany, Oklahoma. Got a semester in, and then went back home and went back to work. So nothing real crazy there. I think though, like that during that period, you know, I think I really missed the whole grace. I think I missed it. I really viewed Christianity as just like this unachievable, like, man, Brother Ben or Bill, you know, they're just doing all these things and then not doing all these things. Like this unachievable series of just boxes, you know, do's and don'ts. I didn't really align or pick up on, you know, grace or mercy or, you know, that I could be who really I felt I was and that was okay and that I wasn't going to surprise or, you know, surprise God or really, you know, anything like that. Like I thought it looked a certain way.
And because you didn't look that way, you just thought that's not ever achievable, right?
Yeah, you know, I was super like ambitious. Even I think my mom had a company growing up, and I think I started working at like 13, 14. You know, I was driving to Dallas at 15, picking up shipments and stuff, and working nights at a loading dock in Grapevine, you know. And I really didn't know how my ambition or kind of my attitude or my mindset fit into really, I guess, what I saw,
Yeah.
at the church.
Do you have a clear like memory or know when that started to change? Like what changed your view of God and Christianity? Because I kind of have my impression of when that time happened, but yeah, you just tell us a little bit about what started to cause that shift toward understanding rightfully who God was and how He is toward you.
So we're gonna fast way forward, and I'm talking like 6-7 months ago. I mean, again, my recall's terrible. Whenever we started January, whenever we started that group, I was doing some just the protection work for our pastor, Matt Chandler, and he turned around one day. He's like, we never really talked and whatever, and he was like, hey, what do? You want to come over to my house Thursday night? And I was like, all right, that's weird. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. That's dicey, man. But then he was like, later on, he's like, hey, God put your name. And I was like, in my mind. And he put 2 names in my mind out of our church. And I was like, man, our church is pretty freaking big, So that intrigued me. And I showed up at his house. And I think that was like, that was when I felt like, okay, well, I am somebody in his eyes, and those conversations really started to change, the way it's okay not to be okay, and he really shifted what my whole thing, just the whole view of Christianity, and really, so January.
I started to see, and I think Lucas probably has something to ask you, but I just from my point of view, I remember all the conversations that we had in the early parts of that were very like, I could tell, and a lot of us, actually, this was a main theme because most of us kind of had this to varying degrees. I've been in church a long time, but I was guilty of this same line of thinking about some of my favor with God or holiness before God was dependent on my trying harder. And I think we all had that to varying degrees where we were like, no, I gotta try to be more disciplined to do this. I gotta white knuckle my way toward being better or honoring God. And I think all of us faced that. That got melted away, like off of us.
He did an excellent job because like I'm a pretty disciplined guy. Like I love the discipline, like military. Like I brought that out, and I can, and looking back, I did pretty well. I white knuckled my way through a lot of things, and I did good enough that I was like, okay, well maybe this is it.
Yeah.
Maybe this is it. And before he had done that, I was like, well maybe this is it. Maybe I white knuckle. Maybe I try harder. I'm not gonna make it. And I was kind of at this point where, man, I'm just not really interested anymore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep trying to be a good guy. But man, I think I was almost out.
Yeah.
Until January when he kind of grabbed me up and showed me a different angle.
It's been amazing to learn, and especially he really put an exclamation point on that when we went through our Galatians study.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it was like talking about our own holiness, and it's like it wasn't you. You're not the one that saved yourself, or you're not the one making yourself look more like him. It's him, but that's a good thing. It's absolving you of that, like that white knuckle attitude. Like, and then when you fall off, it's like, man, I got to do so much to try to get myself back there. It's like, nah, man, no, because it was never on you in the first place. Like
just knowing that, you're not going to disappoint God.
Yeah.
And he didn't know. You're not going to surprise him.
Yeah.
The whole you're not holding him up, you're not going to let him down stuff. I think that, I'd really just kind of taken everything for granted maybe, or just totally missed that whole he died on the cross to God, to have you, type stuff.
I see Lucas writing something down over there. I was gonna.
Dude, I'm a note taker, right? Especially when we've got people in studio and have the opportunity to pick the brains of some folks that have just done, like PJ, that have had a lot of life experience, that have seen the spiritual impact. that the scripture has on them as an adult and the community does. So I think my first question in regards to this stuff, because I have a litany of questions about the period of your life which we just skipped right over. So I've got a bunch of things about that, but I want to ask, like, kind of, what was the, in recovery people refer to it as like their aha moment, right? And I don't know another great way to put it. Like, what was the point where, maybe it was in the Bible study, maybe it was that conversation with Matt where you realized, like, hey, there is more to this than what I thought. Because at this point you've been in church for a lifetime, and yet 9 months ago you really discovered the key to following Christ. So what was that what flipped that switch?
Dude, I think it was just somebody just showing me that it was okay to be me, have the thoughts that I have, feel the feelings that I feel, just be a guy, want to do some crazy stuff and have some crazy stuff running through my head. Like all that's okay.
So when we're talking about crazy stuff, like, let's unpack that
dude,
a little bit.
I don't know, man.
No. Yeah. Well,
Let's keep our rating.
Well, because here's the thing is that there are other guys who are in that exact same spot.
They're
right,
listening right now.
And there may be like one of the three of us, or one of the 6 people that kind of rotate through, as hosts on this podcast, that they relate with, and all of our crazy is a little different. Yeah. Right, and what we think of as crazy things are a little different. And I like the way that you phrase it, because it's not about, that it's okay to be me does not mean that it's okay for me to live in a lifestyle that's sinful, that like has the bends and things that I like am geared towards, right? Whatever those sins are. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the way that God created us is so wonderful, and yet we kind of suppress some of that because we do have these thoughts that are maybe not part of the social norm, right? So like, what does that look like when you talk about, those crazy thoughts are okay to be you?
Yeah, I think it's, it could be anything from just like not dealing with stressful situations well and like going to violence, or going to, just abusive tendencies like over drinking, or, whatever the drug may be, like leaning into those things to, I don't know if it's, you're kind of already, like I was kind of, when I got out, things were well and progressing, but I know I was definitely in a numb. I kind of felt just like numb. I didn't feel any highs and lows. I was just like steady in the middle.
Yeah, like apathetic kind of towards all of it.
Yeah, and whenever I would want to find peace, I would, lean into something else, whether it was, drinking or a drug or something else, if, and I wouldn't really speak about that stuff, but that's where I would find my peace.
Yeah.
Be able to just kind of sit tight and shut my brain off. And, I think when I sat down, just since January, I'm, having this curiosity and kind of, I wouldn't even say it's like a daily diving into the word type thing yet, but I'm praying for that. Like, hey, I know I need other things, and other things are taking the place of those slowly. Yeah. And I just see things like happening around me. Like my wife, it's her birthday, so shout out to my wife today. But
happy 39th birthday.
Yeah, I was gonna say 29, but
yeah, there you go.
Okay.
My grandma was 39 for 52 years.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just forgot what I was going there.
Oh, well, you were talking about your wife. Like you've been noticing.
Yeah, I mean, she
change
baptized somebody on Sunday.
Oh, really?
Wow. So just seeing like these things happening, and again, it's just referred back to, it's just me, and like that's enough. I'm just a guy, just a normal guy with these crazy tendencies from time to time, and that's okay. That's who he created me to be. So
yeah, and he's using that. So kind of that. He's using that sort of propensity for, or bent toward like action and not really hesitating on stuff and being willing to do the hard work. Whereas the enemy can use that, he can turn that in a negative way. And, like you said, work was kind of your God for a little while. Like, I don't know, you didn't put it that way, but I know from
like
conversations.
20 years.
And so that was like a perversion of a good thing. He was in you to just be like a super hard worker. But you can you can have a bent toward that becomes really unhealthy, because that becomes where you find your identity and your and yeah, everything about who you are. Like, it's determined by how hard you work, what you
100%.
accomplish. And so in the same way, like, but God is clearly, if he's given that to you, then he means it for his purposes and for his glory. And now it's cool to see you recognizing that and really purposefully turning it toward ways that honor God. Taking these men out.
Yeah. This is one of the interesting things about the way that the enemy works that I think we don't often talk about, is that like his whole desire is to pervert the image of Christ that's in us, right? Like, God created us in his image, and his whole desire is to pervert the image of God. And so, yeah, we were created with the desire to work, and there's a lot of guys that do work, but then we can turn into workaholics. And so that good thing that God put in us has now been perverted. That there is something, I remember when I was young, the pastor that mentored me, he preached a sermon one Sunday, and it really upset a lot of people, because he used this line where he was like, when people say things like that, and it was some kind of heretical thing, he goes, I just want to rip out their throats and spit at it. And immediately I was like, yes, that's exactly how I feel. Yeah. But there were a lot of people that were like, I can't believe our pastor said that from the pulpit. That's absolutely terrible. Meanwhile, there was a group of us that were like, yeah, I relate to it. Like, obviously we're not going to do that, but that's exactly how I feel. And realizing that, like, it was good to have that feeling, because that meant that there was like some kind of holy, like kind of righteous anger that was being welled up inside of us. And now, he then talked about, like, hey, here's the proper way to channel that. And here's what we have to do with it. Here's how we minister to people who say things that are like trying to get us upset, right? That there was all of that was in there. And the enemy can take these desires that God has put within us, because it is part of being made in his image, right? God loved to work. He worked for 6 days straight and created the entire universe. And then he was like, I think I'm going to take a break. All this looks really great. I'm going to rest for a day. And we, so many of us as men, we have the desire to do the same thing, but yeah, it can turn into workaholic, that getting a little bit of a break, realizing that, hey, you know what? I've worked for 6 days straight and need a day off. Or maybe, for some of us, we're 30 or 40 days into, whether it's demanded of us, or that's just the way that we've started going, entrepreneurs or guys that are running businesses or whatever, that like, all right, you know what, there's finally a day where there's a break. And instead of using that rest time productive, we're like, you know what, I deserve this, or I deserve to get wasted, or to get away from all of this stuff. And this is the way that I'm going to really escape, instead of using what God has given us, which is, hey, take that break, read a little bit of scripture, relax, spend some time with the kids, or whatever that looks like for you. Maybe it means, go to a cabin or go on one of y'all's retreats.
And it's tough
to get out there. Yeah.
It's tough to kind of pull back. I think Chandler called it like a time of discovery. Mm-hmm. And I really feel like since the sale of our business, which is, been a year, I'm still trying to figure out how just to be still and not, just not consistently fill my time.
When you figure that out, let us know.
Dude.
Resting in him, right? Like that's a hard thing to do, especially if you have that background where you're like, you just ramped up all the time. And again, a lot of what you've done in the past has been toward work and toward accomplishing and trying to, what's next, and there's no rest. And now it's kind of funny, because I know that this has been it's a struggle, but God's like, nah, man, you're resting and trusting in me. Your family, everybody's provided for because of the sale of your business, but now he's like trying to be sensitive to what he wants you to do in the season. So
it's a cool time, because he's showing me some new paths, some new opportunities.
Yeah. And
then also showing like, hey, that's cool, that's okay. You could, directing me to take that and use it for this and that, and open other doors and facilitate other conversations.
Yeah.
So,
I've got kind of one more question on this before we hop into the next thing, because he's got I'm moving it to the next subject, look at his eyes. Do you think, first off, so two-parter.
Yeah.
The first one's going to be pretty easy. Do you think that there are a lot of guys in the church that are in that same position that you were in that have been saved for? You do. Okay. So what would you tell those men? What advice would you give to them so that they can get to the spot that you're in?
Man, as awkward as it is, and as anti as it may feel, or you may be, about just, finding a group of guys and plugging in, like take that step. Because when you find your community, things just get better, and it's not easy. Like my wife is super into like small groups, and I think I went to like 15 different small groups trying to like plug in at the church, and ended up, hey, you just go and do your thing, and I'm gonna do mine. So that's tough, and I think a lot of guys are going through that. But as soon as you do, like for me, when I found kind of some guys that look like me, talk like me, just similar life experiences, it did start, conversations started happening, and then, it's just easier to kind of be that full man that we're called to be. And, and I definitely think there's like a movement, but all these guys right now, it's like this simple grace. There's not all these layers of stuff attached to it. I listen to a lot of the Joby Martin and the Kyle and, all this stuff that really speaks to, I think, our types. And they're very, like, especially with work. I think Joby was one of my favorite things he talks about sometimes. He's like, hey, my dad, he told me men are like flatbed trucks. The heavier the load, the smoother we ride. Man, it's so true. So true. Idle time. Yeah.
And I do think, for that point, that when we look at a lot of the arrested development that we're seeing in your sub-30 guys, is so much of that has to do with the fact that they have no responsibility, and so they accept no responsibility. Right? They're, and I understand financial situations and whatever, but if you're 27 years old and you're still wanting mom and dad to pay for everything because you're not carrying a load, then you realize, like, hey, I have a life with no purpose. I'm not sure what I want to do with it. I can't hold a job and don't have to, and all this. And there's something about, especially for men, when you're 17, 18 years old, if their parents are like, yeah, well, it's a little cruel to charge rent. Like, not really. Yeah. You're actually shaping them to be the people that they need to be the men that they need to be. And I love that illustration.
Sometimes that purpose or that responsibility is what pulls you through and teaches you the lesson, for sure.
Yeah, we had a student who got really upset because his parents are making him make his own car payment. None of his friends have to do it. And now, like 3 months into doing that, the dude's, like, he's made a 180 in his attitude and everything, because now he's got a reason for showing up to work, and now it matters whether or not he's on time and meeting his deadlines and stuff. It's like, welcome to manhood, kid.
There it is.
This is part of it. Yeah.
There it is.
I like that. I like that quote too. I've heard a version of that before, but the heavier the load, the smoother the ride. It's like, that's kind of what you were made to do. You were made to carry a load, and things just go better. Man, it's totally true. I got in a lot more trouble in my early mid-20s when I didn't have something that I was working toward or working on.
Yeah.
Even though I could find ways to, pay my bills and stuff, it wasn't the same as having a direction and a purpose. Even if the purpose at the time is like gaining work experience, having a steady job, saving money. And so I think that's that's a really good quote for anybody. I even find dudes that are older that have the same thing. Like, maybe they're set. Maybe they're like, man, I don't really, I got a pension or something, whatever it is.
Yeah, there goes the decline.
Yeah. Yeah. Because now it's not about the money part of it. It's like, well, it's the purpose part of
drive,
it. Yeah. They need something. So the heavy load for them is not maybe provision, but it is fulfilling your God-given purpose on earth.
Got to get plugged in.
Yeah.
Got to get to it.
Yeah. Well, so as far as like TRG, so one of the reasons why we wanted you to come on today is because, you and I have been talking about a way to better serve the men that you feel like God put on your heart to take care of, these veterans, these first responders. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you could explain a little more of this, but essentially the heart was, we're already doing this great work for these men, but there's a layer deeper that some of these guys really need to tap into, and felt like Jesus in Jiu-Jitsu was doing some good work here, and like, maybe there's some ways for us to get together.
Yeah, I love the community that you guys have created. I love the consistency of it. Not being on the mat myself, I hear and have a lot of friends, that are plugged in. Both my kids are at the gym. So I love that aspect of it, and I wanted to bridge the two communities. There's a lot of parallels between the guys that I have conversations with that roll with you guys, and our first responders and our war fighters. And I wanted to create kind of a bridge there, just another avenue to also serve them. You know, our trips are great, but if I could plug them into a just Christ-centered like group of guys that I know will just take them in, you know, no matter what it looks like, no matter what the situation is, you're not gonna surprise anybody or, you know, whatever, and just kind of celebrate them, love on them a little bit. That was really where my mind, where my heart was around kind of making that connection. And then giving people the opportunity to provide that too. You know, I have a ton of people that like, man, we can't sponsor one of your trips, you know, but let me know if anything else comes up. Well, hey, here's a great opportunity to cover 90 days a gi and introduce someone to something that they're not going to hate.
Yeah.
You know, it's just going to make them better. It's just going to forge new relationships. And, that's where I was at on it.
So to that, we're, you know, TRG and Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu are kind of partnering together on providing. So he's providing. You've already done this, so we kind of our first guy that we have just started last week, and you were able through your network to find a way to sponsor him for a 3-month scholarship for Jiu-Jitsu, buy him a gi, and then we're providing the devotional discipleship kind of piece of this whole thing. He's getting plugged in with us. We met with him last week for his first class. Yeah. Rolled with him.
He loved it, man.
Yeah.
And his wife. I mean, I got messages from them both saying, man, this is a great experience. Can't wait to get back in there.
Man, and God just like, God teed it up too, which was so cool because he and I hit it off, obviously, just talking and fellowshipping afterward. But then also, I don't know if you knew this, but one of the guys that we train with, that's an amazing dude. Older guy, loves the Lord, been training for a long time, former D1 wrestler.
Okay.
And he ended up being this guy's next door neighbor.
Like his old neighbor. Yeah.
And he's like, what? He's like, I didn't know you were here. What are you doing? And so he felt immediately like, oh man, I got people here that I know and that I know I can trust. And this is a cool place to be. So, but God set that up. Like, no other way we could have made that happen. But I think he just really loved the community already and just was excited to come back and pour into or have people pour into him.
Dude, he opens all these doors, like not necessarily just like on business or every other thing in life, and I jump through those quick. But then I'm always like super hesitant to like step through an idea or something new. So for that I was like, you know what, we got to start doing that. We got to walk through these doors as they open up, and it was really cool I heard about that. And really cool to see the response. And excited about it.
You mentioned earlier like a movement happening in this community, and we see it. Like you and I have kind of only opened up to each other probably over the last 6 months. I've known you or seen you around for a while, and I've observed the way you carry yourself and the family man that you are. You're always with your wife. You're always with your kids. And that's something to look up to, right? As another father with the kids a little bit younger than yours, but I'm still, and I'm watching always. I'm a very observant person, right? But you mentioned, that revival happened. I think it's so important to see the impact that it's going to make on our children, to see, men that are both godly and tough, right? We talk about that a lot on this podcast. Like I think me growing up, they're like, it was either godly or tough, right? Yeah. And I just take your son, who I guess is 14.
14,
right?
Right.
Like now, not only does he have you to look up to, but he sees all these other men in the community that maybe don't look like what I thought a Christian man looked like when I was a kid.
Yep.
And he sees that too. He sees these rough and tough dudes that are also just loving and hugging on each other. And like, so how has not only you kind of being more outward with your faith impacted you, which we know how it has, how do you feel like it's affecting your family right now?
Yeah, I hope just the transparency, because it's a lot of us have that kind of that alpha mindset, that tough guy kind of, whatever presentation maybe. But yeah, just the transparency that he specifically sees, you know, and then I've got a 10-year-old little girl and another 6-year-old little boy, but I just want to be super transparent with them, that you don't always have to have it together, and it doesn't look like one thing or another. You are who you are, and God built you that way, and that's exactly who you're supposed to be. And yes, discipline has a place, and you're gonna do things and then not do things and then do things and go through all these cycles. But that's okay. And like, that's, you know, hopefully they'll see me in just how I act, and, you know, the wins, I guess you could call, and then all my failures too. Like, I don't want to hide that from them.
Yeah.
I want them to see me at my best and then see me at my worst, so that it creates this bottom top side kind of frame, realistic deal for them. Cause the worst thing, I don't want them to have this false expectation of who you're supposed to be. I want them to know, like, hey, who you are is who you're supposed to be, man.
Well, that's humility. So, like, being willing for others to see failure or weakness, not just for the sake of seeing weakness and failure, but that God would get the glory in all of it. That's Paul's heart when he's like, you know, I'll boast even more in my weakness, if it brings glory and honor to God. Like, hey, I messed up here. I don't have what it takes here, but God, in his grace, in his strength, in his infinite wisdom, he made a way for me to be able to do this, or for our family to do this, or whatever, you know. And I think it's an awesome opportunity always to glorify God by sharing our weaknesses and our failures. So I love that transparency piece.
It's a huge weight.
Yeah.
You know, if you got to walk around with this stigma, you know, so to see people and for this movement to be happening, I feel like, you know, it's great.
So, I know we're getting closer on time. I want to make sure that we talk about, two things. Before we get to how people can actually help with our kind of our partnership, our TRG and Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu partnership, we know that we asked you about a favorite verse. We'd love for you to share that verse, and maybe we could just talk about some thoughts on that before we move to TRG.
Yeah. James 4:8, I think that was one that I did pick up, like, way back in my youth group days. And it was just, you know, draw near to God, he'll draw near to you. I'm a big accountability guy. Like, I never felt like I did enough to really earn it, you know, and until I figured out, like, you can earn it.
Yeah.
But there's still a big, like, accountability factor with me. So I always feel like that one has stuck, just because when I don't think things are going right, or like I don't feel like I'm hearing anything for the Lord when I'm trying to talk or ask for something, or whatever the case may be, that helps to kind of reset me to, like, hey, well, what are you doing?
Yep.
Are you carving out some time? Are you just sitting still? Are you reading anything? Are you having conversations? Or are you just sitting, you know, and expecting?
So James happens to be the favorite book of a lot of guys who are have a bent toward action, because there is a lot of call to action in James. It's like, he who began a good work in you will see it through to the day of completion in Christ Jesus. He's the one that's refining you, making look more like him. But James is like, but you also have a responsibility in pursuing him, in walking in righteousness, in seeking his face. There's an A.W. Tozer quote that says that every man is as close to God as he wants to be. And it's because God is there. Like, it's not like he's far from you and you have to, like, do everything perfect and turn these knobs and push these buttons perfectly so that he'll show up to where you are. He's there. He's always there. He never leaves us. He never forsakes us. And so then the onus is on us to turn toward him. He's there already, and he wants fellowship with us. So now it's up to you. If you feel far from God, it's because you've not made time to pursue him. You've not turned your face toward him. You've not sought him. And so I love that's your favorite verse, because
I didn't even know really that side of it, but that's always, like, I don't know.
It's encouraging, because it means, again, we talk about the white knuckle and trying harder. Really, it's still not even saying that. It's saying, like, turn toward him. He's right there. Like, it should be that verse should be an encouragement to us that if you draw near to him, the promise is he will draw near to you. Like, he's not far from you. You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to, like, conjure him. There's no, you know, There's no ritual you do to try to get him close.
You don't have to go outside and at sunrise and manifest the presence of the Lord.
Yeah, or rain dance. Yeah. Sorry, ancestors. On an island in the South Pacific, my family. I think I love that that's your favorite verse, and I love it's a great encouragement to every person out there who maybe doesn't feel close to the Lord. You have a responsibility in seeking Him out, but the good news is that He's not far from you. It will always result in an immediate closeness with God if you pursue.
He's going to show up, man, and in those encounters, they can be really real, and it's nothing crazy.
Yeah,
just like looking at him, talking to him, taking some time out.
So I love that. You have anything on the verse before we move to?
No.
Lucas, you have anything on that verse before we move?
On this, I think the A.W. Tozer quote sums it up, and I do love that. You talk about how like Men of Action, that this is typically their favorite book or the book that they're most drawn to, is that it's the one that Martin Luther hated. Yeah, because he loved all the philosophy, he loved all the thinking, and he was like, James doesn't cause me to think.
Yeah, right.
Like there's nothing about James that I really have to sit in deep thought about or wonder about. James is like, go do this, go do this, go do this.
Perfect.
Because that's what he.
Yeah, the simplicity of it bothered Martin Luther.
It causes you not to think, but to go do.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
Yep.
Be doers of the word.
And it's funny because it's the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is that He's got that dichotomy too. Here, here's a lot to think about and a lot to chew on, and here's something you need to go do right now.
Yeah, tell me what to do, man.
Yeah.
Go chop some trees while you're busy thinking about all this other stuff.
Yeah. I forgot who it was. I think it's like James is. What was it? Is it James is the gospel with boots on? Is that what it is?
There was a book called The Gospel in Coveralls.
Oh,
and it was a commentary on the book of James.
Oh, we were talking. Okay, that's right. Actually, that was on this podcast. You told me about the book. Cool.
Bringing it all together.
Yeah, it's so good. Full circle. Well, hey, so before we get out of here, though, I want people to find a way that they can support kind of our shared mission of ministering to these men.
Yeah.
And we're still working out like the actual logistical. How are these dollars going to get to pay the jiu-jitsu thing and whatever? But how would you recommend maybe people get plugged in with our mission?
So, are you guys able to post like our website, like our link?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we just put a website together last year. At the very bottom, there's just a donate. If they can scan it, they can hit that link, they can donate, and then if you'll just tag like Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu, that money will be earmarked for this. Man, we'd love to keep this going. It's a 90-day sponsorship with the hope that they will continue, and we'd be able to pick someone up directly and plug them in.
So the full amount for a sponsorship is what did we decide it was?
I want to say it was $750.
$750
for
that
3 months.
3 months
a
of
gi.
Yeah.
Some literature, some devotion books, things like that.
Yep.
A
And
few crisp high fives from Isaac Tauaefa.
a couple of them.
Yeah.
Maybe some
if they
Jocko
can't,
fuel
some
or
Jocko
something,
fuel. Well, and if they can't, like, that's what it would cost if people are curious about, hey, I just want to sponsor a guy.
Yeah.
But even if you can't, like, but you feel like the Lord is moving you toward that goal specifically, put $5 toward it, put $20 toward it.
That's right. Anything earmarked is going to go towards that mission specifically.
Yeah.
And like you said, if you don't have the ability, like a lot of people have one guy and they're like, man, I want to plug this guy in. Well, my answer to them is, cool, sponsor this guy, put the mission, put his name down, contact, and we'll reach out and we'll get him going.
Yeah.
If not, any amount helps. It will go towards that specific mission. This isn't something we're producing margin on. This is a direct impact on somebody's life here.
Well, and to be, to that point about there's no margin, like even the jiu-jitsu part of it, we probably could have gotten donated, but we really wanted, I it was just like, hey, out of respect for Formiga and his time, I just wanted people to plug in. Plus, if these guys know that there's a little bit of, there's some money behind this that got you here, there's some skin in the game, because it's very easy if you got something for free to not show up. But the fact that someone has some skin in the game on their behalf and some donors made it possible for them to be there, I think that a little bit of accountability to be there and be around these guys.
100%. Like even on our trips, we're very intentional on telling these guys, like, hey guys, this isn't a free trip.
Yeah.
Somebody donated this money. Like average cost of our trip is between $10,000 and $15,000.
Yeah.
So we're like, hey, somebody spent money so that you could enjoy, so that you could have this opportunity.
Yep.
We're not asking anything from you except to submit someone else's name for the program. But it isn't a free deal.
No, well, and that should, I think, instead of making people feel like bad,
Yeah.
man, I'd feel like, dude, people care enough about me to invest in this. They believe that I was worth this investment. And so I think that's great. And I know that there are people that are going to hear this podcast that listen, that have a heart for this specific. There's a lot of dudes like you that are out there listening to this podcast. Yeah. There's people all over the world. We hear a lot of them are veterans, first responders, police, firefighter, all these guys that they're listening to the pod. And if they aren't those, a lot of them have a heart for that community and those dudes. So
my partner, Robbie Horn, and myself, man, this is just one thing that's really been on our mind about just bridging these community gaps and creating these local relationships between other nonprofits and organizations just to better serve the community. So we're really excited about it.
That's awesome. We'll put all this information in the show notes. But again, guys, the website to help support PJ and Robbie and his cause with is therapeuticrg.org. Again, that's therapeuticrg.org. Yeah. If you'll scroll down to the bottom of the page, there's a donate link down there. It's a black box with a heart in it that says donate. Click on that, make donations, help support these guys and their efforts for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have anything you'd like to say, or for our people to know about you or your group before I close out?
I think we hit a lot.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you for your heart, man, for being obedient to what God called you to do, and I love it. I love that now where you were doing something really good for them, just from a community aspect. I love that. I think through your discipleship and our brotherhood, walking forward, studying the Word, it's tilted you toward, man, these guys need that deeper layer. They need Jesus in the midst of all this stuff. And so it's cool that you're moving dudes towards the gospel.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you guys and what you do. How many episodes was this? Like 134 weeks of doing this. I know that's no small feat. So appreciate you continuing to go after our community.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Well, hey guys, as always, we appreciate you listening to the podcast. We have some really cool, exciting stuff coming up. We are going to Boston on October the 11th.
Yeah.
To Dedeco School.
Yep, in Weymouth, Massachusetts.
Weymouth, Mass.
Yeah, Weymouth, Mass.
You bring in Formiga with us.
Yep.
13-time Masters World Champion to teach a free seminar. So if you're up in that area and you're within a 5-hour drive, make it happen.
Yeah. Jocko Fuel has already confirmed they're sending pallets of stuff because they expect that there's going to be a lot of people there. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
Excited about that. Well, and just for our listeners who they love to cover our ministry in prayer. And so Lucas and his family were going to be coming to Boston with us, but his dad ended up having, it's okay if I put this out? Okay.
Yeah, for sure. We need all the prayers we can get. He had last week an emergency quintuple bypass. So praise God, we were able to, I say we, like I did any of this stuff. My mom got him to the hospital whenever he just had chest pains. So before there was a heart attack or stroke or anything like that. And they were able to kind of keep things under control until they could get the surgeon in there. We weren't sure exactly until they cracked him open what it was going to be, but quintuple bypass was it. And so for the next few weeks, he's going to be hanging at our house.
Yes.
Because we've got single story, and they don't want him going up and down the stairs with a newly wired together sternum.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. And just really thankful for the flexibility that we've got, but also super stoked about what's going to happen in Weymouth, because we've got some friends who are at some churches in the Boston area. They're bringing some of their kids that do Jiu-Jitsu, as well as a pastor friend of ours who's going to be sharing his testimony, which I'm pretty stoked about as well.
Yeah. So for those of you who I know cover our ministry in prayer continually, please be praying for Lucas and his family. Again, obviously he's taking care of his dad, and I know he loves his parents, and so he feels honored to get to be there to help take care of his family. But this was going to be also a family trip for him to come to Boston to spend time with all of us in Jiu-Jitsu and Dedeco and all that. So he's staying to help take care of his dad, which is obviously the right thing to do. But just be praying for them and their family for the resources and that they need, and patience and the sleep and everything else that could help their family.
Yeah, and he'll be plenty entertained by his 2 grandbabies.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Oh, dude.
yeah, that's all good.
Have you told Levi not to jump on Grandpa?
Yeah, we've talked about that. Yeah, no jumping. They call him G, so no jumping on G whenever he comes over. But Levi has a Ninja Turtle board game, and he's so stoked. He's like, I'm going to teach G how to play the new Ninja Turtle game.
So
I'm
sweet.
Like, great. Yeah.
I love it, man. It's so awesome.
It'll be awesome.
Well, hey guys, we really appreciate all your prayers for the ministry. We'll see you in Boston on October 11th, and then the next event after that will be in DFW. We're going to be in November 1st at Eastside Dojo. I'm going to get the time out, but we're going to have Carlos Henrique, the UFC BJJ champion in his weight division. Super excited to have him teach. And we appreciate it. The other thing we have is hats are out now. I'm wearing one of them if you're watching the video.
It's nice. It's a happy middle ground between the tiny logo and the massive logo.
Yeah, I
really like it.
Really tried to make sure.
It's a very handsome hat.
Yeah. Well, and to have some pros actually advise us on what size it needs to be.
And there's really several Easter eggs hidden in that particular
some cool
piece
stuff.
of merchandise.
We'll let you find them all, but we got some
Post
cool
them when
badges
you find them.
and also, I just saw this came out this morning, but we're doing a pre-order for hoodies. So these are going to be our classic Shield logo for our first run of the hoodies. We have other designs obviously coming out, but these are going to be like really nice, thick, heavyweight hoodies for the winter. So go grab one or pre-order one. That'll help us get all of our orders in on time and get those batches paid for up front so we can get them rolled out to you really quick. So we appreciate that, guys. And as always, if you'd love to sponsor a podcast episode or help the ministry continually, we would love for you to make a monthly contribution to the website or a podcast sponsorship. And if you want any more info, you can email us. There's a form on the website that goes to a couple of our emails. We check it. So we really look forward to hearing from you. We love you and God bless you. Cramer, can you say a quick prayer for us?
Absolutely. Heavenly Father, thank you. Thank you for allowing us this platform to get on here and talk about your goodness, talk about your love, talk about your mercy, talk about your faithfulness to us, Lord. And as promised in your book in James 4:8, as we draw nearer to you, you will draw nearer to us, Lord. And thank you for that. Thank you for PJ and the work that he's doing with TRG to help veterans and first responders. Lord, thank you for our families. We just pray your protection over them and that you never stop pursuing our children, Lord. Mm-hmm. Heavenly Father, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to step into this calling, Lord, to share your word through the Jiu-Jitsu community and to try to make an impact in the communities around us. Heavenly Father, we love you. We praise you. It's in the mighty name of Jesus that we pray. Amen.
Amen. Lucas, got anything before we go?
No, man, I'm good.
Sweet. Well, thank you. This has been the Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu podcast, episode 134.
Go train.